Welcome back to the second half of All About Money. The shares of Cathay Pacific tumbled nearly 7% to a 9-year low last year after they announced a massive data leak. The city's flagship carrier said while the personal data of over 9 million passengers have been compromised, there was no evidence suggesting such information had been misused. Let's bring in data and security expert Michael Gazeley, Network Box Managing Director. Michael, welcome to the program. So I know you are an expert in this front, but just tell us, how serious is this data breach from Cathay Pacific?
Well, of course, it's incredibly serious because you're talking about 860,000 passport numbers that are now out there, 50,000 from Hong Kong directly, Hong Kong passports. There's just under 250,000 ID cards that have now been hacked. These are all on the dark web, along with certain people's physical addresses, phone numbers, even their travel itineraries. So this is all going to aggregate on the dark web and join this just huge spectrum of data that is out there on all of us.
Mm-hmm. So in this specific case, what do you think the hackers are after?
Well, they're after personal information. If you look on the web, this is being aggregated. So if they come after a medical database, they're going to get your medical history, right? They come after a travel company, they're getting your travel history. They go after banks, they're getting your financial data. They're going after children's toy manufacturers, they're getting your children's data. And this is all just coming together. Big data and cloud and all these other terms, they apply to corporates, but they also, unfortunately, apply to hackers as well.
Mm-hmm. So in this specific case, it took Cathay 7 months to inform the public about such breach. But in your opinion, what took them so long?
That's really hard to say. I mean, they say they wanted to do a thorough job of investigating. However, in many countries, and I think most pertinent is Europe, the laws have changed. So since the 25th of May this year, if you did something like this in Europe or that affects Europe, you're going to be in big trouble because you need to come out and announce what happened within not 7 months, but 72 hours.
Yeah, with such a scary environment out there, what does that mean to any individuals? Does that mean no more online shopping, no more booking their trips online?
Well, I think it would be smart to choose a card which has got a secure app that SMSs you perhaps, each time there's a transaction, to limit that card to a lower value and limit that you only use that card for that purpose. So if anything happens, you can cancel the card immediately and you're watching it because there only might be the odd 1 or 2 transaction a month on that card. So I think we're going to have to change our habits of using credit cards.
So credit cards aside, like for any individual, it's very common for them to have signed up for some payment apps or online trading apps or online shopping accounts and all that. Basically, their personal data is pretty much everywhere online, registered everywhere. So how can an individual protect himself or herself in this case?
Well, another thing that's very important, and once again, it may be a silver lining in the CX case because what they're claiming is that no passwords were stolen. Okay, but in many breaches, passwords are stolen, and if those passwords get into the wrong hands, unfortunately, about a third of us, maybe we've got bad memories or it's just easier or whatever, but about a third of us just use the same password for everything. So if you have a large number of breaches and these passwords with your account are leaked onto the dark web, then a hacker can actually go through all other potential banks and financial services, whatever it is, and they can just keep trying all of these accounts to see which one that 1/3 of people belong to who have reused the password. So don't reuse passwords, I guess, is the short version.
Let's bring the focus back to trade tensions.
Right.
So US-China, I know that you have interesting insights in terms of the trade conflicts between the US and China. You said it's not just a trade war. It could be more than that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, imagine you're running a country and, you've got trade wars going on. What's the next step? And I think one of the next steps would be some kind of cyber war or some cyber intervention. And in order to execute that, you need backdoors into the quote unquote the enemy, right? And what just astonishes me is in Hong Kong, for example, our government, our multinationals, the companies running our infrastructure keep putting in overseas technology that have been shown once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and it goes on to have backdoors in them. Well, if there's a back door, by definition, someone can come in, right? So I think that we need to be very aware of the technology that we use.